Are we on the verge of alt season? I know that's an interesting question because I made a video yesterday with a title at least of asking if $74,000 was the peak for Bitcoin, which I don't believe it is, but I do wonder if $74,000 or $73,800 was the peak for early 2024. But I'm seeing some signs. I'm seeing some hope, some possibility that alt season, maybe even a full-blown alt season, is right around the corner. And so I want to present that in this video. But before we dive on into that, this is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. And while I appreciate that so many of you are hopping in here from all over the place, you've got to hit that subscribe button. I make videos every day. I try to go live as much as possible, just trying as much as possible to keep up with this rapidly evolving crypto space. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification button as well. Check out all my price target videos if you wish. They're all here, 120 videos. You can see the spreadsheet in the description of this video. But let's go ahead and dive on into this. And so what is contributing to this idea that we would enter into some kind of an alt season? Well, here's what I'm going to cover in this video. First of all, the FOMC meeting, there was something that happened during that meeting, at least from the minutes, that was a bit of a surprise to me and a bit of a shock to the system. And so I'm going to cover that. And then the second thing we're going to look at is VIX and oil, just real quick, some things, some confluence when it comes to bullishness, risk off kind of mentality with the VIX, with oil, and then Bitcoin dominance, seeing some reactions to all of these things from Bitcoin's dominance and the DXY. And then I'm going to show you what I'm monitoring, which is the 702 retrace on the total to crypto market cap. And then of course the wrench, always the wrench that's in the system is the spot Bitcoin ETF selling pressure, which increased dramatically 2 days ago from the day that you are watching this video. So let me exit here and we'll start out with this. I posted this on my X account. So when you read Fed meeting minutes, when you listen to Jerome Powell speak, you have to have your BS detector on like crazy. If he says whatever he says, take it with a massive grain of salt. If he says we're going to fight inflation, we're going to get it to 2%, that's what he has to say. There is no other option than for him to say that. And then whenever he pivots on that, he will pivot on that. And that's what's going to be the truth. If he's going to say we're going to do whatever it takes to fight 2% inflation, you should take that as we're going to do whatever it takes to fight 2% inflation until we're forced to not do that because of the declining economy, which is most likely what's going to happen this time around. But there's hard numbers from the report, and you always need to be paying attention to the hard numbers. And so forgive me, my finger was a little fat yesterday, but let me read this. Beginning in June, the committee will slow the pace of decline of its securities holdings by reducing the monthly redemption cap on Treasury securities from $60 billion to $25 billion. So they've been reducing their balance sheet. They've been reducing their balance sheet since the second quarter of 2022. It's been almost 2 years. This is a process called quantitative tightening. Ever since the 2008 crash, the Fed has very largely been in a phase of easing. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet in 2008 was under $1 trillion. It's gotten as high as $9.5 trillion. As of right now, it's under $8 trillion. And what you would see if you were to look at their balance sheet was that decrease over the last 2 years from $9.5 trillion to about $7.5 trillion. So they've unwound and they've removed liquidity from the system. And now this is their first communication of easing a little bit since the second quarter of 2021, from 60 billion to 25 billion. I was blown away by this. I did not expect this. I didn't expect it at all. And this is the first sign. This is the first domino to drop to what is inevitably going to happen, which is that they are going to ease and they are going to inject money into the economy because we are like crack addicts in the United States. If you didn't know that, if you live in a foreign country, we're like crack addicts. We need liquidity. We need injections of money to keep this house of cards afloat. And so this very much affected my mindset yesterday. It was certainly looking like we were going down 2 days ago, excuse me. It certainly looked like we were going to go down to the lower 50s for Bitcoin. I'm not so sure about that anymore, although we're going to talk about the spot Bitcoin ETFs. A couple other things I want to show you. I was talking about the VIX. So the VIX gave us definitely a scare, but it ended up getting rejected on this trend line. The more volatile things are, the more uncertain things feel, and there is a correlation to a higher level of volatility in the VIX to a negative environment for stocks to thrive and in turn in cryptos. And so we got rejected, had a huge wick above that. This was last week, a couple weeks ago, and then went right back down. And now we're probably going to be in a phase of consolidation with the VIX before, who knows, another move up eventually. But then also oil, same deal. I didn't feel like drawing trend lines on this chart. I took this from Game of Trades on X. And so that's an account I follow, very, very much economically focused. You can see the same thing as the VIX, a downtrend line getting rejected there. And that would have been pretty scary if we didn't get rejected, because if we broke through on oil, held it as support, and then began another leg higher, we would be talking about something like, $5 gasoline, at least in normal states. I know it's much, much more expensive in California. And, some of those of you in foreign countries, I bet you're just... we're talking about $5 a gallon, but oil got rejected. Oil is probably most likely beginning a new downtrend until sometime around August. And so the environment right now seems to be favoring a risk on kind of attitude, at least for the next couple months. I mean, we'll see about that. Bitcoin's dominance ever since Bitcoin's dominance broke through resistance here. This was significant resistance. This is a new 3-year high that we saw again just a couple weeks ago. It's been very much in a downtrend. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, when the Fed announced that they were taking their foot off the gas a little bit in terms of tightening, at least, we saw a significant downward move in the Bitcoin's dominance. And so we would need to see something like this. I mean, in 2021, Bitcoin's dominance got under 40%. Is that possible this time around? Well, if it is possible, we're going to need some help from the US dollar index. And the US dollar index, this is a 4-hour chart, by the way, upon news of the Fed slowing down their unwind, slowing down their tightening, the US dollar index also took a quite a significant dump here, and it was about to put in a yearly high, and then boom, right at that time, took a dump. Could we see a new downtrend in the DXY? It's entirely possible. And so what does that mean? That means all of that put together, that we could start seeing something, whether it's a mini alt season or it's just full-blown alt season. I'm 50-50, but I do think that we're going to see some altcoin moves finally. And so here's what I'm paying attention to. Here's what I'm very much wanting to see over these next couple of weeks, because I want to see altcoins explode. So we saw the total 2 crypto market cap. This is the entire crypto market cap minus Bitcoin. We saw it get up to the middle of the golden pocket, a 6.6 retrace, and it got rejected there. Went down, all the way down to the 382 retrace, and then bounced a little bit, and then it's just kind of been hovering between the 382 and the 0.5. I'm wondering if we're going to see a new move up in the total 2 crypto market cap, and we could see this get up to a 702 retrace, 1.32 and change $trillion. I wouldn't be surprised if that was some level of resistance for a little bit of time, but then I'm even saying this could happen in May. In May, we see a breakthrough of the 702 retrace here. If that's at all possible, if it happens, I am going to be unbelievably bullish on altcoins. I can't even begin to describe to you how bullish I will be if we break through and hold the 702 retrace on a daily candle, and more preferably on a weekly candle. And so that's the next step. That's the next thing. If that doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen, that means we're not breaking through that. It means altcoins aren't reaching new highs. I'm just going to be wait and see. I'm going to hold off until we can see other conditions that would make things more helpful for seeing the altcoin season happen. This is very similar. What we're experiencing right now is very similar to what we saw in 2021. It was a lot faster in 2021. I mean, it was like a freight train here, but you can see 702 retrace. I mean, golden pocket, middle of the golden pocket rejection. 702 retrace. We got rejected there several times and then went down below the 0.5, which is where we are right now. Below the 0.5. That was a scary time, but that was also GameStop week. And so nobody really was paying attention to crypto that week. And so then boom, going up right back to the 702 retrace. And then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rejections almost every day at the 702 retrace before we finally broke through. And then brace yourselves. This is what alt season looked like after that. I mean, my goodness, it was a freight train. It just didn't stop until May. It didn't stop until even, it just went straight up. It was straight up for alt season. Just for reference, this is where we were. This is what the same spot that we are in right now is very comparable to 2021. So if we see a breakthrough that 702 retrace, we could very much see something like this when it comes to alt. Will it be that dramatic? I don't know. A big catalyst for that was Elon Musk and Elon Musk with Doge, but also Tesla buying Bitcoin. That just sent things skyrocketing to the point of no return. And there is one thing opposite to Tesla buying Bitcoin right now, and that is the spot Bitcoin ETFs. The outflows have been pretty intense lately, especially yesterday, 2 days ago, excuse me. $563 million worth of outflows. Fidelity had their first ever day of outflows. BlackRock had their first ever day of outflows. Fidelity was off the charts, $191.1 million worth of outflows. And then literally every ETF had outflows 2 days ago. And Grayscale, of course, had their outflows. They've had outflows literally every day since we launched the spot Bitcoin ETFs. They keep up with this pace. Eventually they're going to go to zero, but they'll probably level off and who knows, maybe even add to their holdings, maybe. But then you can see $563.7 million of outflows. Now, yesterday, Bitcoin did hold up well, and I'm still waiting to see what the report is for outflows for yesterday. So maybe this was a one-off. Maybe this was the final thing before seeing a little bit of a cooling off when it comes to outflows. This will eventually stabilize, but it would be much more helpful towards upward movement in Bitcoin and in alt if we're not seeing these ETFs unload $500 million of Bitcoin. And what is that? That's more than 10 times the amount of Bitcoin that's mined per day. So we need to see some cooling off on this. And if we do, I do believe that even more so, we're going to see alt season come with a vengeance. And so all of these things have me hopeful. The catalyst was the FOMC meeting yesterday, 2 days ago, excuse me. I'm just going to admit it. I'm making this video on Thursday and I'm going to publish it on Friday. Okay, so 2 days ago, I'm trying to speak from your perspective of watching this. All that to say, this is the thing that has made me think that this could be the potential catalyst towards an alt season. But we're just going to have to wait and see. We'll wait and see how the markets react. I would say that this injected a little bit of a hope on Wednesday. It was definitely some dreariness in the markets. So we'll see how this goes, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section in this video. Where do you think you're going? Are you ready for alt season? Are you prepared? And what do you think the extent of this alt season would be if we get there? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.